Hi Dennis. I've been able to like stream it, so I think we're good.
Okay, thank you, Sophie.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Deborah. Well done.
Good afternoon,
Thank
Deborah.
you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you so much for joining in. We are expecting that some people will start joining in maybe in the next 5 minutes or so, right? So please, once it's 2:59, right, you can go ahead, introduce yourself, welcome the guests, read the mentor's profile, and then welcome the mentors, or welcome the speakers rather.
All right. You said you're going to share the flyer, right?
Yes, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Please, sorry, just to confirm, do I have to put on my cameras on?
Oh, yes. Please, you would have to.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very well welcome to today's session. Please, can you kindly confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, good afternoon, Deborah. We can hear you.
Okay. A very welcome to today's session, and I would like to say thank you all for taking out of your Saturday to be here with us. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Deborah, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. And if you've been with Gypsy Academy before, welcome back. We are truly glad to have you with us again. So today's session is especially exciting because we'll be diving into a topic that's on everyone's mind: artificial intelligence, also known as AI, and the future of work. So actually, today marks a significant milestone for Gypsy Academy as we officially launch our monthly webinar series. And rather than just simply talking about AI today, we wanted to bring you experts who are actively working in this space and helping in shaping the future. And that's why I'm delighted and honored to introduce us to our distinguished speakers for today, in person of Alexander Ijembi, Stephen, and Kelly Idehan. We would like to say thank you for accepting our invitation and for taking out time to share your knowledge and insights with us. We are sincerely grateful. And we hope that at the end of this webinar, each and every one of you leave with at least one practical step you can take this week to better position yourself to the future of work. So right now, if you haven't already, I would love you to grab your notebook, get comfortable, and feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go along. We will address them during the Q&A session towards the end of this session. So without any further ado, let's begin. And I would gladly like us to join me as we specially welcome our speakers for today. So about our speaker, Kelly Idehan. Kelly Idehan is an emerging technology thought leader, entrepreneur, AI researcher, and influencer for digital innovation. He is passionate about the application of impacts of disruptive technologies for solving real-life problems faced by people, especially in underdeveloped countries. He is currently the founder of LearnHub Africa and CEO of LinkOrin Technology, where he consults the brands and help them undergo the process of digital transformation. While not fully immersed in research, speaking engagement, and his time on social impact projects, helping young people through digital skills, STEMs, education, and mentorship as a commitment to his mission and getting more people ready for the future that will be completely disrupted by technology. And about our speaker, the next speaker, Alexander Ijembi Stephen. Alexander Ijembi Stephen is a monitoring and evaluation professional with expertise in development finance, impact assessment, data analysis, and economic research. He holds a degree in economics and a master's in business administration, providing him with a strong foundation in economic analysis, business strategy, and performance management. His professional focus: currently serving as an M&E officer at the Development Bank of Nigeria. Alexander supports the measurement and reporting of development outcome arising from SMEs, financing interventions across Nigeria. His work focuses on impact measurements, data analytics, performance reporting, and the documentation of success stories that demonstrate the contributions of development finance to job creation, financial inclusion, youth entrepreneurship, and business growth. So it's a pleasure to now welcome our speakers for today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, I'm sure my mic is working well.
Yes,
Hi,
sir,
good
we can.
afternoon.
All right,
Yes.
great.
We can hear you both loud and clear.
Okay, all right.
Awesome.
Nice
Yes.
to be
All
here
right.
today.
All right. Thank you very much for joining in. So we'll be starting the conversation right about now. Thank you to our moderator for welcoming us into the session. My name is Dennis Williams. I'll also be joining her side by side to help coordinate the affairs of the discussion for today. Like she mentioned, we'll be discussing artificial intelligence and the future of work. And I'm sure both of our speakers today are ready to do due justice to the topic, right? So we'll be starting out with Mr. Kelly. I'm sure you already have prepared for us, and we would just like to hear you share what you have for us as pertaining this very topic that is both affecting us now and is also a futuristic concept that will be important to how work will be developing and how we can begin to position ourselves to begin to get the best outcomes out of artificial intelligence and moving into the workspace. You're welcome, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic. So when I got the invitation, I was interested in taking it up. So it's a very how would I say now volatile topic because people have been speaking about it for a long time now, and it's something that everyone is supposed to be very, very well aware and conversant with. But unfortunately, the awareness level is still very, very low. Still very, very low. So I'm going to see if I can bring up my slides so we'll see all the various factors that we need to take into account. I believe the house here is not only people from the legal profession. I'm sure people from other industries are also here, right? Okay. So
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me share my screen. The entire screen there. Okay.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
All right, great. So I'm just going to put this on view mode in a moment. Equally. All right, great. So yeah, so let me get a thumbs up if screen is visible, so I can proceed. All right, great. So for this topic, if you take notes, I gave it a somewhat different title, which is AI utilization for the utopia in survival of humanity. And the introductory banner or graphics is a bit chaotic. So it's showing I mean a situation where there is, how would I put in, riots, or people are not satisfied with whatever outcome that they are seeing and all of that, which is the case that for lack of preparation for technology, which is the case of what is going to happen. So I'm going to go into the details of how AI is going to affect the job space, is going to affect the future of work, and even industries to a point where if it is not properly managed from the individual perspective, the enterprise perspective, and the government perspective, is going to result into a chaos. So now, introducing this topic from a broader perspective, using the analogy of the Tower of Babel. I'm sure those who are Christians are familiar with the story. Even those who are not Christians, it's familiar story that is become kind of almost cliche. So the Tower of Babel situation is a story of humans learning about a particular kind of technology, which was brick and mortar back then, using it to build. And when they found out about this technology, one of the things that they wanted to build was a tower. So now that idea of building something with technology it has been something that has been with humans from time immemorial. So if you look at every given time where man finds a technology, he uses it to his advantage, not only to solve his problem, but also to dominate. So those are very crucial points we have to realize and understand, factor in for AI, because already we're already seeing this same analogy playing out in a global perspective. So I said the fundamental technology that that a man would have, the ambition of man, as shown from history, shows that he wants to use the technology, apart from solving his immediate problem, he wants to use it to dominate. So if a person has a new technology, the first thing is, after solving his immediate problem, how can I use the technology to get more power? Maybe grab more land or grab more resources. That is a fundamental historical factor that we can see from the history of men. So, as I said, during the Tower of Babel, they found out about technology and they were trying to use it to build something, bring everyone together and all of that. So in the same way, our modern technology has given us that same advantage. The disadvantage we had before was that all the technologies we are building were lacking the factor of communication, which was like, oh, how do I understand what this person is saying? And how do I interpret what he's saying? And how do I apply what he's saying? So that factor has been demystified. It has been removed by the modern digital technologies that we have today, and especially from AI. So we now have a world that is way, way, way more connected. Your smartwatch can talk to your TV, can talk to your glasses, can talk to your car, can talk to your. Now we now have a situation where people just create AI agents or robots and just tell them, oh, go and do this thing, and that AI agent, if it has to speak Spanish or speak French for it to achieve its purpose, that is no longer a hindrance. So this is how technology is evolving now, and we can already see that that evolution is changing everything that has to do with how we live and work, and which is why we're having this event, which is about how this technology is currently going to affect work and what we can do to plan for it. So the way technology advances is very, very interesting. And the way AI is advancing is also very interesting. And that is why the AI conversation is very important. Now we know AI it became popular in around 2022 when OpenAI released that ChatGPT. But before then, AI has been around for a long time, and there was really no headway with the technology. There was limitations and all. But when that breakthrough from the Google paper, they released a technical paper which had to do with transformers, which is a way AI can big data, recurrent learning, and all of that, using large information and making sense of it, which is transformer architecture. That technology transformed AI. So now AI is now moving from what it was before into something that we will call a general purpose technology. A general purpose technology is a kind of technology that when it comes, everything around it changes. For example, one of the general purpose technologies we had was electricity. When electricity came, everything that has to do with how man works and lives changed. Like if you don't have electricity in your house, it's like saying that you are cut out from modern life. The same way to AI is a general purpose technology. AI is going to be just the way you have electricity running around you in your phone, in your house, in your cars, everywhere around you, and you don't even pay attention to it. The same way to AI is already running around us. For example, we have AI right now on this Zoom call. I'm sure probably the note taking or the transcription or any of those services, AI is running at the background and we don't pay attention to it. Also, those of us who are using our phones, probably you're connected to the internet, probably your WhatsApp or your Facebook that is dropping on this conversation. Maybe your smart speaker is somewhere listening. Oh, are you calling for me? Oh, Alexa. Oh, I haven't heard Alexa today, so that means I'm not yet on the call. So, but all around us, we just see that we are surrounded by AI, and it's becoming very normal. It's becoming very normal, and that's why we call AI general purpose technology. So now with this idea of AI as a general purpose technology, remember I said man, once he has a new technology, is always going to look for how to advance that technology to a way where it can use it to dominate. And so there is a great drive to push AI into what we call get to a point where we can have AI supremacy. That is to say, whoever achieves AI supremacy is going to have the greatest amount of advantage in terms of power and resources. And that is why we see today that the US and China, they are very big loggerheads who would get there first. So I'm going to go into all of those geopolitics in future slides. But where you see that there are two narratives that will come out, or rather two cases that we should be looking at for. One is AGI and one is ASI. Now, those are futuristic concepts. AGI means artificial general intelligence, and ASI means artificial super intelligence. This is a point where AI will get to, and the AI becomes way, way more smarter. Currently, we already have AI that is smarter than some humans, actually, because when you tell a human to create an image draft, it will be cracking his head and be thinking, oh, how should I type it? But just tell an AI, oh, create an image draft. The AI immediately just draft something for you. Even the worst case AI can easily do that. So AGI is going to be that point where the AI is so smart that it can easily do almost everything a human can do. If cooking, whatever you can think of, the AGI, and that is the focus point where most technology companies are driving for. Companies like OpenAI, Gemini, Google, all of those companies, they're all driving for that point. Who will get there first? And the countries behind these companies, they are always like, oh, how do we support these companies to get to this point so that once we have this power, we'll be the supreme nation on earth. So now, but not forgetting that everything that gives you advantage also comes with a disadvantage. And one of that disadvantage is what we're going to be talking about in the coming slide, which is the issue of job place disruption, which is already affecting a lot of people. So it is a gamble. What if by the time we develop this technology, it becomes something that we can no longer control and it affects us in such a way that we can't even manage the situation, and we now start rioting and having chaos, just as I showed in the first introductory slide. What if we get to that point where this AI becomes so out of control and everything is just going haywire? AI is doing this one by itself, it's doing that by itself, it's causing some companies not to pay their workers or some companies to close down. What if we get to those cases? So it's a gamble, okay? It's a gamble. So now moving on, we have to understand that the human race is progressive. It's progressive in the sense that if you see from this chart, there is the first industrial revolution, which is when steam power, that was when like trains and ships were powered by steam engines. That was when the first cars were invented, engines were actually invented. This can transform society. So those that used to work in, let's say, for example, a farm before, you used to use your hoe and your cutlass. Now you had engines that you could tell to, oh, help me do this, and the engine will do that. So that transformed society. Then we moved on to the Industry 2.0, which was where electricity became more abundant and people could power their equipment, power their machines with electricity. Then we moved to Industry 3.0, which was the point where information technology, internet, computers, they all came on the scene. And that also transformed the way the world worked, which is an era which we are just coming out from now. That's to say, we're just coming out from the era of, oh, I want to send you a document. I can send it via email, or I want to send you a receipt. I can do it digitally and all of that. I want to pay for a business or for a transaction, a service. I can do that through paper, through Paystack, and you receive it on your end from your own device. So we are moving from that era into currently we are even in the fourth industrial revolution, which is the Industry 4.0, which is the era where AI is now becoming like everywhere. AI is not the one doing all of those transactions and all of those processes on our behalf. But even beyond that, the era we are in today is very, very short-lived because we are now moving into a different era, which is the Industry 5.0, or you can call it the fifth industrial revolution. And in this era, it's going to be marked by the fact that humans and machines have to cooperate, because remember, machines are going to become so smart that they can do a lot of things that humans can do. And now for the human to be able to even compete or even measure up, he has to sort of partner or collaborate or meet this machine where the machine are. Because if you don't collaborate with the machines, that means machine is going to leave you behind actually. So we even have people like Elon Musk that are developing companies like the Neuralink company, which is the proposition is that they're going to implant a neural device in your brain, and with that device, you'll be able to your brain will be connected to the computer or the machine or the AI from your brain, and you can think and you can act and you can perform actions just by thinking. So although we're not going to go into the pros and the cons of all of that, but that is where we are right now, the fifth industrial revolution. Also, we have that this fifth industrial revolution, people are already taking advantage of it. For example, I'm sure you'd have heard about things like vibe coding and all of that. This is where somebody can decide to just build a software in one day, and you can decide to say, oh, I've built this software, how do I market it? Instead of hiring a marketer, the person will say, no, let me get an AI agent to do marketing for me. Let me get another AI agent to do HR for me. Let me get another AI agent to do sales. Let me get an AI agent to do public relations and all of that. So we now have where one single person is running an entire company without using any human staff. So talking about workplace, future of workplace. Future of workplace is one where one person can run an entire company without a single human in that company. So already countries like China, they're already pushing for this. In fact, there are some states or provinces in China that will say, if you are running a one-man company and using AI, we will give you grants, we will give you more money to run it better. That's to say they're encouraging it. Okay. So would this cause lead to unemployment? Would this lead to disruption? Those are the questions we are going to look and address. Then also, we also have the IMF report, which states that 40% of jobs worldwide are already exposed to AI. I myself, I'm already feeling the effect. Some of the projects I used to do, because I used to do I do software development, I do web, I do digital marketing, I do all of those agency services. Most of my clients, they will just be like, okay, no need to continue with this company anymore. Let's just go and use AI to automate what we want to do. And I can't blame them, because that is the reality we all have to face, that even people who do graphics now, jobs are coming in very slowly, because some people will just be like, oh, I want to do a graphics, a banner. I just go to ChatGPT and tell it what I want to do. ChatGPT is going to give me that graphics for that banner. I take it to a printer prints. That is the world we are living in. So jobs are already being affected for every profession. So now, as this world is evolving, as these jobs are being disrupted, there's a lesson to learn. This is not the first time such disruption has happened. Remember, I talked about the different eras of industrial revolutions. The same thing happened around the 1800s. A case that is known in history as the Luddite Revolution. What was the Luddite Revolution? The Luddite Revolution was people usually something like looming or weaving. Like you want to do a fabric, you have to use hands to weave it. You know, the way most people do weaving locally. So that was how it was done there locally without any machines. But an invention came, which was the invention of the loom machine. With that machine, when you want to do your fabric or your loom or your weaving and all of that, you just run it through that machine, operate the machine, and it will just be bringing out like output faster and even better. So most of the employers that employed people to be doing their weaving for them, they had to let them go. So they sacked, let's say they sacked those people and they invested in these machines. But the people were like, how can you just replace us like that? So it caused a lot of issues, and there was a revolt, there was a riot, there was burning of factories, there was a lot of things, even death. So most of the Luddites, they will go to those factories owners' home or their workplace, destroy the machines. If they see any factory owner there, they will even kill them. So this thing resulted to the death of people, actually. So we have to learn from lesson. Just like you can see that in the future, this same narrative is going to repeat itself. In the way I tagged it, there's going to be those who have the Luddite mindset and those who will have the saints, or what we can say synthetic. That's to say augmenting yourself using AI as much as you can. Already, most people are already using AI already. So it's not even a case of whether you're using AI or not. It's now a case of how well and how much AI can you really use to do most of the work you want to do. So I mean, getting the knowledge and the skill to use AI in an advanced, automated, and precise way to give you high-driven results is going to differentiate you from that man who is like, no, I don't want to learn any new skill, or I don't want to stress myself. I just like the way things are. Let's be doing it the old way. You're going to remain there. And most likely, these are the people that might turn out to rioting and causing disruption, because there's actually going to be job loss. So, moving on, we need to understand the way technology really is evolving, because we just wake up and we see things happening, but there's actually some phenomena or some laws, like for example, the Moore's law, that states that the number of transistors in a circuit, for example, a circuit can double every 2 years, which implies that the speed and the capacity for your processor is going to continuously keep improving. For example, if you think about 10 years ago, the kind of phones, if you had a phone that was maybe 64 gig of space and had some maybe fair enough RAM, you'll be like, this phone is good enough. Maybe you have a phone of 8 gig RAM, this phone is good enough. But today, a phone that is 8 gig RAM is just a basic phone. A computer that is 8 gig RAM computer is just a basic. In fact, that computer is old. Minimum specs for an average modern computer is now like 16 gig and above and all of that. And that is even on the low side. Talking about the actual processors that are used for AI, for example, companies like NVIDIA, what they are producing, those processors, they are doubling, like the capacity, what they can do each year is growing. Not only that, not only is the technology, expanding year by year, we also have what we call the Buckminster-Fuller phenomenon. So around the 1900s, Buckminster-Fuller was a researcher and also like someone that was interested in technology and all. Then he noticed a pattern that every 100 years or so, the amount of knowledge was doubling in the world. So the world, every 100 years, knowledge was doubling. But moving forward, by the 1940s, knowledge every 25 years, it took only 25 years for knowledge to double. Then moving forward, let's say 2020, every 12 months, knowledge was doubling. But now, as you and I know, you might wake up tomorrow and they tell you that, okay, OpenAI has released a new model, or Gemini, Google has released a new model, new updates, and you won't even wait till the end of the year. They will tell you they have released another new model. So we have gotten to a point where knowledge is doubling every 12 hours. You can imagine everybody in the world today creating content, posting, doing like this. I'm sure this webinar we are doing, for example, is going to be posted on YouTube and all of that. The rate at which webinars and content and posts and information is being created is doubling, and this doubling of information is adding more power to AI, because AI runs on data, it runs on information. So the more information we create, the powerful AI becomes. So you can see the graphs, the charts are all exponential, they're all going up and all going fast. So we are getting to that point where it's even like a steep climb, just going up thoroughly, and humans cannot cope, because the learning of humans takes time. Imagine give birth to a child. For the time the child will take to walk, it takes about a year or so for that child to walk. But with AI, if it took AI a year to walk this year, by next year, it will take AI 6 months. By next year, it will take AI 3 months. By next year, it will take AI just 2 days. And that is how the rate of AI progression is. And that is why it is hard for humans to keep up. So, talking about how this AI, as it's progressing, what its impact and its effect on us and the way in which it is affecting the workplace, I've divided it into 3 key stages. So most of this information are coming in from my book I wrote, 2020s and the Future Beyond. So around 2019, I wrote a book titled 2020s and the Future Beyond, which was a projection, because from back then I already began to see how pervasive technology and AI was, and that was why I wrote that book. And I will not say funny enough, I will say realistically enough, all of those projections I gave in that book are what we are seeing in real time today. So back then, I divided the stage in which automation would encroach into life and society. Stage 1 was the entry stage. Stage 2 is the consolidation, and stage 3 is the exponentiation. So I'm going to explain each one of them briefly. What do I mean by the entry stage? This is the stage where it is just basic automation AI is doing, just basic things like, oh, AI, I want to write this thing. Oh, AI, I want to create an image. Or AI, I want to do this. AI will just give you the results. That is basic automation. But we have moved past that stage. We moved past that stage some years ago. We are now at the stage of consolidation. This is the stage where the AI is functioning as an expert. That is to say, when you say AI, create an image, a graphics for me, the output of that AI is almost better than the output of a human. So you prefer the AI's output to a human output because the AI is faster and much more professional in its output. And this is the stage where we are currently in today. And I believe that is one of the reasons why this event was organized. And not only the fact that we are in this stage now, we are now slowly, even not just slowly, taking a big stride into the next stage, which is stage 3, exponentiation. Remember, I said AI of today and the AI of tomorrow, the stage at which it will grow is very, very fast. And that rate at growth is continuously increasing. So AI will get to a stage where AI can manage entire processes. So you can just tell an AI, manage this farm for me. The AI would control the robots, control drone, control tractors, control the planting, control the harvesting, control how the weather is even affecting the plant, control how you would even sell the produce of the plant. An entire operation from end to end, the AI will be able to manage and automate it. And the humans will just go and sit somewhere and just be relaxing, because what can you do better than the AI? So that is the stage where we are moving on to. And most of the companies that are developing these technologies, they are actually hastening because they are driven by profit. So they are actually doing the best they can to make sure we get there faster. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? That remains a conversation, possibly for another slide. So I talk about there's workplace shifts. Humans are now sharing roles with AI colleagues, or even having AI bosses, because sometimes an AI can give you an assignment as a human. For example, it's already happening. For example, you have where AI is as an agent. If you have an AI agent and you tell the agent, go and book me a flight or a vacation to Spain, for example, that AI agent is going to go on the internet and recruit. For example, if you're a tour guide, the AI agent will be the one to actually recruit you and tell you what it wants for the booking for the tour and all of that. So in a way, you are actually reporting to the AI, not even to a human. So, and not just that, even in a real organization, a corporate environment, let's say for a bank, for example, now, some of the people working there might get to a stage where they will have to be talking to an HR who is AI, possibly, not just possible. Those are the things that are just up ahead coming. Okay, and I've talked about the capabilities of AI systems also. So that is the words. That is the progression of AI automation, how it is moving from stage to stage. I say we already passed the stage 1, we're currently in stage 2, and we are quickly moving on to stage 3. Okay, so even with all of these things that are happening, there should be a conversation on how do we manage this? How do we ensure that this does not spiral into a situation like the Luddite case, where people were destroying the machines that were taking their jobs, or killing people that were investing in those machines. The words that we know today is a geopolitical word. For example, even if some people say, you know what, let's sit down and plan for how we want to use AI to help everyone. Some other countries will say, oh, since people are planning that one, let's go and think of how we can use AI to develop weapons and drones to be automating, because they're already using AI in warfare. For example, in the Russian-Ukraine war, drones, automated drones are used. So you just send those drones. Anywhere you see Russian army uniform, just send bomb to that person. We don't even need to ask you question. Just see the uniform, send bomb there. So those kind of automations are already being used. So that kind of divide is making it impossible for the world to come together and actually sit together and plan for how to really ensure that AI becomes advantageous. So that divide is something that we have to pay attention to. So, and this divide is mostly in terms of the socioeconomic perspective to it. You have capitalism on one side, you have socialism on the other side. For example, the US is mostly driven by capitalism, but when you go to China, there's the basic foundation is actually socialism, which in a way is actually communism. So this divide in how people think, how the government work, how the citizens operate, how they work, and all of that is making it difficult for everyone to come together and actually plan for how to use AI in the right way. Okay. Now, while all of this is happening, of course, as I mentioned, the robots are continuously adjusting and they are continuously going into those spaces where humans are in the workspace. And when you think about it, humans, we are consumers. So as you can see from the image description on the right of the slide, while the robots are learning, taking in data, and improving themselves, the humans are mostly just on their phones, probably on TikTok or on Instagram, and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And the AI is actually learning and learning and learning and learning. So there is a need for a learning adaptation. For example, the World Economic Forum has projected that 65% of children entering primary school today will ultimately end up working in a completely new job type that don't yet exist. This was a forecast that was given before 2020, around 2019 or so. So imagine that the children in school today, by the time they graduate, what they graduated for, they will tell you that job is no longer existing, or AI has removed that job. This is the job that it now is. But how fast enough are those schools to actually change their curriculum, to adjust their curriculum to meet up with the current state of things? Of course, nothing is being done yet. And let's look at it from a global leadership dilemma. It's not as if the world is not aware that this AI job disruption is a big problem, because the last G7 that happened, it was one of the key topics. This present G7 that happened, in fact, the United States president went to the G7 meeting. The G7 meeting is supposed to be a meeting for political leaders only. But because of how crucial the situation was, Trump went to that meeting with OpenAI CEO, Claude AI CEO, as Anthropic CEO, with some other AI leaders from the US, because the conversation was now, how can the US, who has this technology, make the technology open to everybody? But the US is saying we cannot make this technology open to everybody because China is going to steal it. Maybe North Korea will use it to do something else and all of that. So, for example, Anthropic, the latest model, Fable 5, it was, cut out. It was restricted. And after a while, it was taken offline. So imagine that only people in the US can use high-tech technology. That means everybody else is just going to be submitting to them. You have to beg them to use it. And they're going to be so far ahead of most other nations. So this debate is happening in different climes. For example, the European Union, they're also in on it, trying to look for how to meet up. If you cannot meet up, who can you partner with? So those geopolitical divide and situations are happening on a global space. Then we also have that the digital divide is widening because, for example, if you don't even have electricity to start with, you are not even part of the people that are going to count for AI because you don't have electricity. How are you going to run an AI? How are you going to run your server? Or you don't even have enough money to invest in subscribing for Claude. For example, an average Nigerian student, how can we be sure that they can afford Claude subscription of about $20-something per month? Then not to talk about OpenAI subscription, another $20 per month, Gemini. So all of these tools priced in dollars, they are almost out of reach for the average African or Nigerian. So the digital divide is widening. Then we also have the big issue of morality and ethics. For example, when you even have this AI, how is it being used? The algorithms that this AI runs on. I think recently there's this debate on Twitter about Olodo rising, which is more like AI is the way people consume content in Nigeria or in Africa is controlled by the algorithms that, for example, Facebook has designed. And those algorithms only show content that are entertainment and just playful content. Meanwhile, when you go to other countries, for example, China or the US, the kind of content that the algorithm suggests or brings up mostly are educational content. So that is algorithm issue. For example, you also have algorithms that are spying you because, for example, Facebook wants to get most of your data and send it to people that will advertise. If you talk about shoes on your phone, you might be talking to someone about shoes. The next time you go to Facebook, you'll be seeing different type of shoes. You'll be like, how do they know I want to buy a shoe? Facebook, that's what they're interested in. So those algorithms, what is the morality and the ethics side of it? You talk about data too, that are being collected from people. How are those data being stored? How are they being used? And is it being used for ethical purposes? Those are big issues that are currently facing the world. So why these issues are facing the world, you now realize that you yourself as an individual, you have to now start thinking about how to also solve your problems because the world is solving big problem. You yourself, you can't be waiting for them to come and solve the problem of job loss for you. So I have distributed or rather segmented the way in which this solution can be arrived at, which is a unified AI disruption strategy. And what does it mean? It means that all stakeholders need to come on board if we want to actually solve this issue. Number one, the individual, yourself, myself, the corporates, the companies we work for, the industries, the enterprises, the banks, corporates in general, then the governments, all need to come together to have a unified strategy. Because if the individual is doing something and the corporate is doing something else, there's going to be a misnomer. Or if the government, for example, you all decide, like the US, for example, they all decide to say, create this policy, all AI should be cancelled in the US. Like nobody should use AI in this country. Remember Nigeria, we did something with cryptocurrency too. There was a time where Nigeria, everybody was adopting cryptocurrencies and blockchain, but Nigeria said, you know what, cryptocurrency banned in Nigeria, cancelled and all of that. And that affected a lot of businesses. It affected how fast we even progress in the crypto space. So the same thing, the government can come with a policy on AI that can even limit everyone. So that is why whatever the government is doing has to work in line with what the companies or organizations are doing, and also has to work in line with what the individuals are doing. For example, companies now should be thinking of how do we train our workforce? Because where are you going to even get new workforce that are AI skilled? You don't even have that. So if you don't train your current workforce, you'll be left with the decision to say, you know what, let's let these ones go, or let's sack these ones and employ AI instead. That's because you did not train your workforce to even to adjust to the current reality. So just as Alvin Toffler said, Alvin Toffler was also a futurist, a man who from the 19th century was already thinking far ahead. And he said in the 21st century, those who are the illiterate, right now, the illiterate are those who cannot read and write. But that definition has changed greatly because even with just pointing your phone at something, AI can read it aloud for you. So, but the illiterate of this century will be those who cannot learn and unlearn and relearn. Very key. So even if you have learned something today, by tomorrow when you're waking up, knowledge has doubled, that thing has changed. So you have to unlearn that way of doing things. and you have to relearn the new one. You might wake up the next day and it has changed also. So you have to unlearn and relearn. So that's not being stuck in one narrative or one approach to doing things is a very important skill that individuals are going to learn. So I'm going to talk about more of this in the coming slides. So what are some of the strategies that we can use for mitigating the impact? So this is where we now have to even start thinking about what we can do, how we can do it. Number one, the first and most important thing I think everyone should be concerned about, and which is why I love the program that was set up by Gypsy, awareness. We need to now start creating awareness. More people need to understand what this disruption is and what the capabilities of AI are. AI literacy in general, just knowing exactly what is even AI, how is it going to affect me, how is it going to affect my company, what should be the best thing I should be learning now, how should I be learning it? So raising that awareness for everyone, even our parents, because already most of them are already on WhatsApp or WhatsApp, as they call it. And on WhatsApp, there is already Meta AI there waiting for them. When they go on the internet, whatever they want to do on YouTube, there's AI everywhere. So no one is going to, as long as you're alive, you can't really avoid, encounter with AI. So learning how to use it, the potential, and how it's going to disrupt your life, and how to adjust so that it becomes advantageous for you is a key. So raising awareness is important. Then re-education. We need to acquire new skills. So instead of just thinking, oh, I've learned this thing, and okay, that's good enough for me, you have to have the mindset of, oh, I have to keep re-educating myself and knowing exactly what skills to learn, how to learn those skills is part of the re-education. So it's not just education, but re-education. Then having an adaptive mindset. Most people, it's all about the mindset. When you're like, oh man, I can't even change. I'm just stuck here. These are I was taught. These are I know it. For example, you go to some companies and you go and you meet your boss, and your boss is like, send me that email. You'll be like, but sir, or for example, say, scan that document and send it to me. Maybe your boss expects you to go and use the scanner and scan it and bring the physical paper for him and print it. And like, so why don't you just use your phone and just scan this thing and send it to email or send it to AirDrop or something? Boss would be like, but having an adaptive mindset would help you wherever you are, whether as a boss or an employee, to know exactly what technologies to embrace. And even when something changes right in the middle of you working on a project, let's say, for example, you're working on a software project and they just, OpenAI has released a new tool that can even make you do that thing faster. Instead of you saying, no, I'm just going to use my old methods, having a mindset where you learn new things, adapt is very, very important. Soft skill enhancement is also a key thing. Basically, AIs can actually, we can regard AIs as more as intelligent, overly intelligent. But what AIs cannot do is having that human emotion. So if you see AI is beating you on the intelligent part, AI can do paper, do reports, do research. A human having empathy, having emotional, bringing emotion into play. For example, those who are caregivers, like bringing your human side into your skill or your work. Those are very important skills that we have to now start learning. Learning how to collaborate with people, learning how to communicate. If you meet someone new or you meet a child, how do you adjust yourself for your tone of voice or instead of you being angry? Those are important skills that at the end of the day, employers will be looking forward to, because if it's about intelligence, they'll be like, we have intelligence everywhere. That's not the problem. But those people that are respectful, those are the people who want to hire now, because that's what we need now. So those are skills you should also prioritize. Then corporate reorientation. Organizations need to start adjusting how they operate, what they do, business, because an AI tool can come today and just wipe out your entire business. For example, imagine that you were a graphic designer or a design agency. By now, your legs will be shaking because anybody can just come with AI, or a consulting company that used to work on research. AI can do all of those things now. So organizations need to start adjusting what they do and how they do it. The same thing with the government policies. So there's still a lot to be said for government, agencies and policies though. But when it comes to those kind of conversation, the conversation is going to be very long. So we'll not dwell on it. So the individual dilemma, why I've said all of these things and they sound wonderful to the ear, in truth, I know it's actually hard, because what is the truth of our reality? Our education that we have received currently did not prepare us for the world that has even passed. So not even to talk about the world that is coming. So our current education is not even enough to actually give us those skills. So we spent a lot of time in schools, but we come out and realize that, oh, it's a different world out here. And while we're even thinking about how to even fit into that world, we are seeing news that this world is changing and being disrupted. So in truth, those are factors you have to be aware of, okay? Then, because for example, China, recently, I think some weeks back, they scrapped about 12,000 courses from their university. So maybe there was a course called hunting or fishery. Someone said, no, this guy, everybody go and do AI, machine, data engineer, data analyst, for example, just give an example. But China actually scrapped a lot of courses that would no longer be relevant, and created new ones that students can now apply for, which are courses that are actually going to be relevant in the future. So countries like Nigeria, are they thinking in that line? I can't say. Or African countries, are they thinking in that direction? We can't say. So it will take a lot of time for even the government to even meet up. So also economic pressure. Because of this, like as I mentioned earlier on, even being able to afford some of those tools is hard. It's actually hard, especially when you think about the exchange rate and all of that. Imagine you have to pay for Claude. I think the highest version is about $200 if you really want to use agentic AI. You have to be thinking about Claude, $20 a month. How many people can afford $20 a month? And not just that, you use that $20 a month, they'll tell you, just like your data finished, you have to subscribe again. So depending on what you're on, some people spend as much as $10,000 every month on AI tokens and AI tools. So in our own narrative, Nigeria, we can't really expect the average Nigerian to afford those high costs. Even if you have the knowledge, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to build an AI agent that will be doing this and doing that. But do you have the economic advantage to do that? So those are, and the way our society has kind of conditioned us, we're always thinking short term. Or they say, now data analyst might be the current skill in the pay. Oh, I have to learn IT. Which skill they pay pass? So you just check the amount, and the amount that is paying the highest, that is the skill they want to go for. Those are short-term thinking. In the age where we are coming into, those kind of thinking is going to be disadvantage for you, because when you are thinking that way, you're not paying attention to the real factors. Then we have that not enough informational resources that are contextualized to our present reality. That's to say, information like what to do, how to do it, the skills to learn, they're not readily available. And even if you go online and you search, oh, I heard that AI is going to disrupt the workplace. What skills can I learn as a Nigerian? There are not enough resources online that has been developed by experts that would actually address that issue for you to your context. So what you might have is maybe what World Bank developed, or what someone in the US developed, or somebody in the EU developed. But for Africans, because we are still thinking about to even survive, so those kind of conversations is not what we are thinking about now. But this is our reality. We have to now start thinking about how to actually pay attention to creating informational resources that will address these issues. And once again, that is why programs like this that Gypsy has organized, they are very, very important. Okay. Then we also have the socioeconomic and capitalistic anomalies. For example, if an employer is given the choice to choose between hiring a human or hiring an AI agent will work 24/7. As long as you just plug your laptop, it's just going to be running. That AI agent is not going to ask for salary increase. It's not going to say, oh, my grandmother burial is coming, I won't be coming to the office, or rain is falling, I'm not coming today. AI agent is running 24/7. So an employee would say, well, you know what, humans, please do not be angry, but let me employ somebody that will be working for me and generating revenue for me. So that's a reality, okay? Then we also think about those big tech companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and even Elon Musk, their recent IPOs, SpaceX, where Elon Musk even climbed to trillionaire status in dollars and all of that. The way those people who I call tech oligarchs, the way they think, it's not the same way the common or average man thinks. So, for example, Elon Musk, if you give him $10 trillion today, abundant money, what he's thinking about is we want to go and open a base on the moon. We want to go and open data centers on the moon. We have to go to Mars. Let's go to, even if it goes to Mars, let's go to Jupiter. Let's go to Saturn. Let's go to Pluto. Let's create more satellites in space. Let's go and advance. So, but for you, you're thinking, how do I get my daily bread? So you see the thinking ideologies are different. And so most of these tech companies, why they are building these technologies, their direction or their focus is not really aligned with even just the common everyday people. And so they throw in terms like UBI. UBI is a concept called the universal basic income. That is to say, these tech oligarchs, they have said that, oh, there will come a time where AI will dominate the workforce and there will be no need for humans. At that point in time, it will be best to just be paying all the humans stipends, because since they're not going to be working, you'll just be giving them stipends. So, and this is a concept that's already in operation in test countries. Most countries some countries have already tested it out. I think even in Kenya, they did it in some part of Kenya, a test, just like, so when we get to that stage where we no longer need human workers, robots are doing everything, AI is doing everything for us, and we are getting all the money, what are we going to do? Okay, we'll be paying people maybe stipend every month, stipend. But the issues with that even is a very big issue. Like I discussed about it in my book in detail, but just for example, whoever pays the piper actually determines the tune piper will play. So somebody that is paying you monthly and he says jump and you don't agree to jump. So you understand what that means. So just as I said, I've written some materials about this. Like I wrote a book positioning how not to be left by technology in the future. I think this book was written something around 2020 or 2021. All right. It's an excerpt from my main book, 2020 and the Future Beyond. So it's an excerpt, but it focuses on the 10 quick and easy guides that we can use for adjusting into the future of digital disruptions. Just an easy guide, just some quick tips you can apply as the speed of disruption is happening and the humans have to adjust and adapt. What skills or what quick tips can you apply in your daily life that will help you to be able to meet up? So those are some of the things I discussed in this ebook. It's a very short ebook, very, very short ebook. So then we also talk about the enterprise dilemma, companies, organizations, the corporate. Most of the companies currently, they are at a loss. In fact, since I follow a lot of the conversations going on, especially digital transformation, which is to say, okay, now that digital technologies are here, how do we bring it to our organization? For example, let's take a company like First Bank, for example. AI is here. How do we bring AI into our bank? Where can we plug AI into our bank and all of that? Most companies are having a big issue with being able to achieve that because they didn't have an initial plan or strategy, no data strategy. Their documentation, business model, process, and strategy was not clear enough. Then, in terms of even the IT roles that will be able to drive this initiative, because the CEO is only for a bank, for example, a bank CEO, he knows about finance, he can talk about finance and all of that. But when you talk about AI, you'll be like, I don't know much about AI, and he doesn't know much about the technology. So who are those people that will drive this technology, that will drive this in organizations? That's also a dilemma enterprises are facing. Most enterprises, they lack resources. So you can't have the amount of money that Google has. So you cannot even develop your own data center. So what do you do? How do you adjust? So those are some of the issues. Then cultural strategy. Some of the organizations, they are just copy and paste. They don't have this culture of, like the startups, they have this culture of innovation and change, and let's try this thing, let's try that one. But most other companies that are old legacy enterprises. They are just straightforward. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. You go there, you find out that most of their staffs are people aged over 50, and they're all thinking old thinking Excel and all of that. So those are issues that companies are facing. So I also develop a framework called the TENS framework, which is to help organizations to be able to adjust, having an AI strategy, aligning your organizations for productivity in the future. So these are some of the things that either as an individual, as an organization, people need to start having some of these materials and some of these informations to know exactly how they would do what they want to do. How do we adjust to AI? How do we meet up with the AI era? So that is it. We are into a new world right now. We are already in the new world. So it's not like we're entering, we're already there. AI is going to keep advancing. New technologies like blockchain are going to keep advancing. Virtual reality, already we have the Meta glasses from Facebook, has Meta Ray-Bans that you can just wear. It's recording, it's speaking AI. Your earpods, AI translation. You have Internet of Things. Everything is connected. Your fan, your freezer, your microwave is connected to the internet. They can talk to each other. You have nanotechnology. You have 3D printing, and these technologies are going to keep coming and keep advancing at a very quick and fast rate. So it's important that we have a clear strategy for how to deal with this future that will be affecting both our lives and our workspaces. So having a balance is going to be key in how you manage yourself in the future of work. So that is it. That is the end of the presentation. So I'm sure the moderators will be able to take it up from here.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kelly, for running us through your discourse, AI and the future of works, giving us a highlight into the history, where we are coming from, where we are right now, and how we should progress moving forward. All right, so for the people or the participants who are currently in this session, please do well to go over the session, right? We're streaming to YouTube, right? So you can always follow through and see the conversation afterwards, right? To get back, a lot of things that you might have missed, right? And if you have questions, you can kindly drop your questions in the chat box. We'll be taking them later on towards the end of the session, but please make sure to take down questions. We want these interactions to keep going. We want to get to the point where, you are not just learning, like he said. Illiteracy in the 21st century will be your inability to unlearn, relearn, to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So please, let's learn, let's ask questions. That's how we learn, that's how we relearn, and that's how we move forward. All right, so our second speaker is on the call, right, and we'll be running through his presentation or his discourse also very quickly, and after we are done, we'll take questions intricately. So prepare your questions so that you can ask, and let's see how our speakers can help us to the full extent of their capacity. Right. So Mr. Alexander Ejembi, are you with us, sir?
Okay, yes.
Yes, good.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Can I jump right in?
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, Dennis. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Kelly has pretty much done a lot, in running us through AI and the future of the workplace. So in the next 15 to 20 minutes, given the duration of the time I have, so I will just pick an aspect of the workplace and then run us through, how AI, is important in such an area. So we're going to be looking at monitoring and evaluation, as a monitoring and evaluation, especially through the importance of AI within the monitoring and evaluation unit of an organization, and also the benefits, the limitations, as well as the nuances, that is within the workspace in using AI. Before I jump right into it, I know that for some people on the call, they are hearing monitoring and evaluation for the first time. So I'll just give a brief background of what M&E is, and then I'll then proceed with letting us know how AI can actually, have a notable impact within, the monitoring and evaluation department of any organization. So you me that in a banking organization within the organization, and all of them are working together to ensure that the overall objective and goal of the institution is actualized, right? So we have, finance department, the HR department, we have the rigs department, we have the treasury department. So different departments prevalent in an organization. So we also have the monitoring and evaluation department, but this department is not, is not in every organization. It is only in organizations that, that track their impact actualized over a given period of time. Because what monitoring and evaluation entails, it entails, just simply put, right, for beginners, what, employees do within the M&E department is that they draw insight, right, from the initiatives of the institution, and then you run them through an indicator and then come up with insights that will enable management to make an effective decision, right? So that's what they do basically within the M&E unit. So, and how they do this, you agree with me that in every research methodology, you will typically use, quantitative and qualitative data to make analysis. So what we do in M&E is that we make use of both quantitative as well as qualitative data to come up with, insights regarding an initiative that will inform, management in terms of decisions in which they take. So now jumping in, that we'll see how AI, right, can help, an institution that is tracking, their impact to be able to, do this in a more effective and efficient manner. Now, it is not just limited to, in the M&E unit, it's also to use AI, but I'm just narrowing it down to before we jump in, I would like to ask a question. How many of you on this call have used like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini? You can just signify it by, in terms of like, you can just specify with an emoji. Yes. So we have one person. So can we have more people that have used AI in their work? Okay, all right. So just moving on. So you will agree with me that AI is not something new. It is something that most of us have had, we are conversant with. And Kelly has done, a good job in establishing, AI and also the future in the workspace in relation with AI. But simply put, within the M&E unit, right, what AI means to us is just simply computer system that is designed to perform, tasks that, that normally requires, a human being to do, right, a human intelligence. And most of these tasks involves, understanding languages, solving problems, identifying patterns, learning from experiences and the likes. And notice, AI does not just think like human being, right? Instead, it uses data. It identifies patterns based on, the kind of data in which you give it, and then it produces, a feedback in a more faster manner. So I want all of us to think of AI like, an intelligent assistance, right? So AI is not just necessarily coming to replace you as an individual, it's just coming to assist. Because again, if you prompt an AI with some data, it will analyze it based on the information that it has. There are some certain contexts that you might want it to, to give you the answer based on. So that's why as an individual, you have to still edit most of the feedback that the AI has given you, right? So now imagine that you receive, let's say, a survey, because how we collect qualitative data within the M&E unit is through rolling out surveys, going to the field and the likes. So imagine that you roll out a survey of over 10,000 beneficiaries. Now, this is a whole lot of people. and you need to analyze this data. So manually, it will take you like maybe 2 weeks to analyze the data based on the, the feedback in which these beneficiaries of maybe your initiative have given you, right? So, but with an AI tool, you can review these 10,000 responses in minutes. So all you just need to do is to prompt the AI, give it the required data, and also you will get the analysis. You can even get a summary report at the end of the day based on the data in which you feed to this AI. So it reduces the time that you would have spent doing a whole lot of analysis, a whole lot of report writing and the likes. But again, like I said earlier, AI does not make the final decision. You as an individual, you still have the responsibility to validate the findings and ensure that it aligns with the project context, right? So let's take an example. Many people believe that AI is something new, but actually AI is not something new. We use AI virtually every day. You log onto your Google Map and make recommendation as to the faster route in which you can get to your destination. That is AI. So AI is not until you go on ChatGPT and then drop something notable there for it to give you a huge response and a report and all. No. So most of the apps in which we use AI. So you see the Google Map, right? So it gives you faster route to your destination. That is AI. You see Netflix, it gives you, recommendations. AI. Email can even, predict the next word in which you should do, we within the M&E unit to do, because we engage in collection of data, cleaning up of data and the likes. So, and it helps us to ensure that we have clean data. The data collected are well cleaned, they are well aligned to be able to fit into the kind of, reporting, the kind of insight that we want to generate as such. So now let me give you an example of how we use AI in monitoring and evaluation. Now, like I said earlier, we make use of both quantitative data as well as this and come up with insights that enable management to make effective decisions. Now, with an AI, let's say we have 5,000 or 10,000 beneficiaries. When all this questionnaire rolls in, rather than entering it manually or cleaning the data manually or analyzing it manually or creating charts manually or writing out the findings, recommendations, putting them in a PowerPoint slide and presenting. Now imagine using AI, right? The questionnaires can just be scanned and then the data is extracted automatically. In fact, errors that would have been missed, the AI can even detect most of them. It can flag them in most cases. Charts can be generated, findings can be suggested for you, and recommendations. So what will take you, a couple of days will now take you few hours to do. And this is why, AI really matters in anything in which you do. It is not coming to replace you, it is coming to assist you, basically. So I want each and every one of us to see AI like that. That is, AI is coming to be an assistant and not necessarily to replace me or replace my job. So let's consider a familiar scenario where, I know that most of you must have been conversant with if you are working in a professional setting. So let's say management require you to produce a report, right? Let's say you are working in an M&E department that involves, huge reliance on data, both qualitative and quantitatively, for you to be able to put your reports together and give management. So let's say they require, performance report, let's say loan portfolio analysis, beneficiary impact summary, gender disaggregation, different reports. Let's say they need all those reports, even a PowerPoint, let's say a summary slide. And let's say you have a tight deadline of something to present to, let's say, the board, because the board calls once they're opening different tabs in Excel, trying to put the data on, but you might not be able to meet up with such deadline. But with AI now, this is where AI comes in, right? AI has now become very valuable as, it automates, a lot. as everything has been automated, because with AI, you can automate the process in which you can actualize, all these reports within a short duration of time. All you need to do is to just feed the AI with the required data, and then it gives you what you want. It interprets the data, and also give you the findings, give you recommendations, give you the summary report, and all, and it enables you to close in on such timelines. Now, I'm going to give you two differences between traditional, M&E activities and, AI-enabled M&E. But again, from my conversation, earlier, you would have been able to decode some of these things. So traditionally, we do data cleaning manually, right, which can take several days, right? Report writing also, we do it manually, which can take 2-3 days in some cases, right? Again, it takes manual effort in order for you to visualize your data in such a way that you wouldn't make any single error, right, in data entry, in trying to plot the graphs and all. Also, in terms of trend identification, it depends entirely on, analyzing the data very carefully. But with AI, it can just give you the trend analysis. All you just need to do is to just review. It can also identify risks within, the risks associated with the data in which you bring. Reports can be drafted in minutes. It can clean up your data automatically in minutes, rather than taking days and the likes to be able to do all this. Now, coming to the benefits of AI, although I've, in a summary note, AI is not necessarily coming to replace anyone. Very much easier. So, like in summary, it is coming to increase our efficiency, right? AI automates all these works that are repetitive. So again, it cannot, do everything. But again, those jobs that are repetitive. So instead of spending, days in data cleaning, you can spend more of your time in interpreting, the results, using your critical thinking to interpret some of these results. So it increases your efficiency as a person. Also, it improves your accuracy. So with AI, it reduces manual errors. So we in M&E, in the monitoring and evaluation, department of an organization that track impact, our reports are as good as the kind of data in which we have. And it is important that your data have minimal errors in terms of whenever you are making analysis, whenever you are plotting the charts, right, and putting the data together. And once you are dealing with numbers, at times you have to be very careful. So when these data are being fed to the AI, it minimizes the rate of, of errors that would have been done manually. Many times individuals, like humans, can be tired. When you work 8 to 5, you can be tired, but an AI cannot be tired, right? It will consistently use the same rules to produce the same result as such, and also faster decision making. Yes, management can make faster decision making based on the outcome that the subordinates within the unit can bring forth to say, okay, we've been able to analyze this within the duration of time, and this decision can be taken within the stipulated time. Also, better evidence. With AI, you can identify patterns, that humans can overlook most instances. So, as humans, again, there are some things we can overlook because of, some certain factors. But with an AI, some certain patterns that, would have been overlooked would have been noted, right? Most especially when you are doing trend analysis and the likes. And, this will enable you to have a stronger evidence, for decision making as such. Also, in terms of your predictive capability, traditional M&E will just tell you what happened, but AI will help, you to anticipate what might even happen next. So with AI, it can even take you the extra mile, So it enables, most organizations to be very proactive, right? So more times are saved, in order for you to strategically work and the likes. But despite all these benefits of AI, there are still some limitations, that AI still brings. Because again, as an M&E professional, our credibility depends on the quality and the evidence that we provide, right? So our reports are as good as the kind of data in which we have, and they are good as, the insight in which we bring. But again, AI can, bring poor, or inaccurate information based on, let's say, an inaccurate information that is being fed into it. So let me give some, limitations of AI. So AI depends on quality data. So you've heard of this garbage in, garbage out. So the kind of data in which you feed into the AI matters, because again, AI is not necessarily going to, do some errors in terms of some figures, except maybe the figures in which you gave it is what it is now making use of. So it is important that, in populating, your figures, you as the individual, you are accurate in terms of the kind of information you feed to the AI, because what you feed to it is what it uses, to make its analysis and then produce feedback for you. So for instance, let me use an example of an organization that, that carry out, let's say, let me use my organization, for instance, DBN. So what we do basically is that we give out financing to micro, small, and medium enterprise. And when we give them this financing, after an appreciable timing, we go to the field to meet them to get insight as to the impact of this financing on their business. So let's say we have 500 people or 1,000 people, right? And we've gotten the feedback from them. Let's say one of them reported that since when we got your financing, we've increased the number of our employees from 50 to 500. Now, if the enumerator or the M&E officer got that particular information, records it as, let's say, from 50 to 500. So the AI will interpret it as poor performance rather than, an improved, performance in terms of employment opportunity based on financing. So you see that. So what you feed to the AI matters. So it depends on quality data. So the quality of your data, the more, accurate your information in which the AI gives you. So the AI cannot automatically decode that, okay, the information that is being fed into it has a poor data. So that is one of the limitations. It cannot decode on its own, even despite the fact that maybe all odds are saying that, oh, there is a poor quality data here, so it can automatically fix it. So also AI lack human context. So for instance, if let's say a field exercise is being carried out, and after a field visit, we noted that, okay, from the community, there is flood, there is insecurity, there is market disruption, and the likes. AI might interpret it as the fact that maybe the project has failed or the business is, not performing well because of these factors. Meanwhile, in reality, the M&E professional could be able to understand that through the engagement with the stakeholder, with the individual from the field, of observation. It is not necessarily the fact that the project has failed. It's just that maybe the individual is saying that, okay, other better things can be doing to improve, their standard of living or their standard of doing business within the same location, right? But AI can say, oh, because of all these factors are not available, the whole project has failed. So again, like I said earlier, so it is not just what the AI gives you. You as an individual, you must be intelligent enough to be able to, to be able to look at what the AI gives you, restructure it to be able to ensure that it aligns with the objective of the project as such. Also, in terms of hallucination, yes, AI hallucinates a lot, many a times. This occurs when AI confidently provides information that is inaccurate or fabricated. So, and this is because oftentimes the kind of information in which the AI receives is not correct, right? That is why in every AI generated report, those reports should be reviewed to ensure that it aligns with what is intended. Also, bias. Yes, AI could be biased. If the data contain bias, it will also produce such bias. And we in the monitoring and evaluation department, we deal with data, like I said earlier, quantitative data, and this data can be, individual data, right? That should not be shared in the public. So many a times, the aspect of privacy and confidentiality limits the level to which we use AI to interpret some data. So there are some data that, as an individual, you shouldn't upload in an AI because you cannot guarantee the level of privacy and confidentiality that that AI has. So, for instance, have beneficiaries initiative, if you have their names, their let's say loan amount, their BVN, things like that. So you can't give an AI to analyze a data containing some sensitive information. And many a times this might be the kind of efficient analysis in which you get, because you might be forced to do some of this analysis yourself. So these are some of the limitations that AI has. And also looking at the future of AI within the M&E space, as we conclude, I would like to talk about how technology has transformed in industries, most especially in the banking industries. I work with DBN, Development Bank of Nigeria, but again, the banking industry, AI has changed different industries, the healthcare industry, the educational sector, different. And and in the past, much of the time, within the M&E unit, we spend a lot of time collecting and doing a lot of things. But now you can see how it has helped us to be able to, save most of this time, to be able to accomplish a lot. And it's not necessarily come to replace us, but just to support our work, to make sure that we are much more efficient and effective. And let's just take election back maybe before I conclude. You remember when calculator came out. So now when we had scientific calculators, it did not stop mathematics. It doesn't mean that mathematics disappeared, right? It's just that, the way in which we solve mathematical problems by mathematicians became much more effective by the introduction of calculators. Same thing with, spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't mean that accountants disappeared because of, paper. So professionals in different fields will not necessarily disappear because AI has come. It is just going to make our work much more efficient and effective. So that's how I want each and every one of you to look at AI. So AI is not necessarily coming to come and replace your work. It's just coming to come and bring a value addition to the way in which you carry out your daily tasks for it to be much more efficient and effective in what you do. And as an M&E professional, I can tell you for a fact that AI, has helped us, in terms of our data collection, our data cleaning, our data analysis, and the likes. And our responsibility is to learn, is to adapt, and to use this technology responsibly to, to improve the quality of our works and our lives and programs as such. So because of our time, I think I will have to stop here. So thank you very much for listening. So I'm open to your questions and comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much,
Dennis.
Mr. Yeah, can you hear me? Thank you so much, Mr. Alexander, for running us through your discourse on how your organization implements AI in monitoring and evaluation, and how companies overall use it, especially when handling big data and having to make sure that things like accuracy is clearly understood. How at the overall end of you collecting data, you must learn to go through those data, review them, right? And this is just like a general advice for everyone, right? While you are using your AI systems, your AI tools, on the other side of things, right? You also have to make sure that for accuracy. You see some of those promptings with ChatGPT that says that ChatGPT doesn't know everything. Sometimes it gives false information. There's a popular case within a law court in America where a lawyer used ChatGPT to generate what is the word now? To generate cases. And unfortunately, it was found out that those cases did not necessarily exist. Right. So you, as a person who is trying to use AI responsibly, you must also, on the other end, learn to review what's the outputs that AI gives you. Right. Check the quality that you are giving it so that you can review the outputs that it's giving you back. Right. So thank you, Mr. Alexander, for doing that. So while Mr. Kelly ran us through the disruption, how AI is going to the disruption technology, how disruptive AI can actually be in terms of replacing jobs, in terms of how the future is going to align because of the presence of AI. Mr. Alexander has also come to show us that there is a side to AI that would also greatly improve and assist the way you do things in the present. Right, so let's take advantage of everything that we're learning. The discussion is still continuing. If you have questions, like I said, you can drop your questions in the chat box. We want to have this discussion. We want to get to improve ourselves, improve our mindsets, our knowledge in the way we use AI. Where is AI taking us to? How is it going to affect the way we work? How is it going to affect how we carry out our activities? Right, in the next 30 to 40 years, what I'm currently doing, is it still going to be relevant, right? Or should I start learning something new, right? And if I'm learning something new, is it just something that will put money in my pockets right now, or something that will take care of me long term, right? So this is the mindset I want us to have while we are on this session, and let's be thinking in that direction as we ask questions and as we continue with the discourse. So thank you so much to Mr. Kelly and also Mr. Alexander for helping us run through this discourse in this direction. I promise that there's still so much more coming our way. All right, so just moving forward, before I can see a few people who have dropped off the call so that we don't lose the momentum, right? Let's quickly, for those who are still with us, let's quickly turn on our videos, take pictures quickly, and then we'll go ahead, and after that we'll go ahead and then we'll ask questions. I'll give a small reference to some other things, and then we would call it a day. So please, if you can, I would like to encourage us, please turn on your videos for reference that you were in this session, you learned a thing or two. Let's turn on our videos for that quickly. Please, I encourage us to do that as fast as possible. We will do that in a minute. Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nkiruka. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. All right, so please give me a minute to do that. All right, yeah, so we've taken our pictures. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So let's get into questions. Like I said, I believe for everything that you would learn in today's session, our mentors, our speakers, sorry for using the word mentor, our speakers have really done well to highlight very, very important topics. But the way the knowledge they have shared is going to drill inside of you is through the questions you ask. Is going to give you the opportunity to see in a different light or in a different perspective as they give explanations, more detailed explanations to the thoughts that you are currently having. So if you have a question, you can do well by the raise of hand, right? I encourage all of us to ask questions if we can. We'll take as many questions as we can. So if you have a question, please kindly do well to indicate by the raise of hand, and then we'll take your question. Okay, I can see one question in the chat box. And I think the question was asked while after Mr. Kelly was done with his presentation or his discourse. So I would direct that question directly to him. The question is from Akpofure Paul Omose. He's asking, what skills can we develop, not to be left out in the AI dominance era? Mr. Kelly, can you help us run through that?
All right. Yeah, sure. Great presentation, Alexander. Really appreciated that. So yeah, skills to develop. No, that's a very question, because I can't really give you the kind of answer that you might be looking for. So I'm going to try to break the answer into two parts. Fundamentally, the most important skill that you would need is the skill of learning, because anything else I tell you to learn today, just learn this, learn how to use Claude, learn how to use agent orchestration, learn how to use maybe Grok AI to do this. And any of those platforms can change. Any of those skills can change, can be disrupted. So, but what cannot be disrupted is the skill of you being able to learn something new quickly and being able to grab information faster. And that skill of learning, it also applies to you being able to use AI tools. For example, if you're using Notebook LM right now, Notebook LM is a tool from Google. With Notebook LM, you can load courses into like you have blog posts, videos from YouTube, PDF books, and all of that. You load it into Notebook LM and say, oh, this courses, for example, you're learning something about criminal law. You load all the YouTube videos about criminal law you could find, load all the PDFs about criminal law you could find, load all the whatever material about criminal law, just load into Notebook LM. Notebook LM will now start breaking it down. It will not be like your own personal tutor that will be teaching you about that particular topic. So using that tool already is making your learning faster and easier. The same thing also applies to Claude. Claude AI has a tool that can help you learn. So whatever you want to learn, it will help you learn it faster and easier. So learning how to learn is the fundamental skill. But as that aside, being able to prompt, generally speaking, being able to talk to AI and ask the AI, I want so and so kind of output, whatever it might be. Like Alexander was mentioning data analysis for monitoring and evaluation. If you don't know how to communicate to the AI to tell that AI to give you the result you want, you can be with the biggest AI in the world and you won't even get any reasonable output from it. So learning how to communicate even to AI, for example, let's say you're using a smart glass. For me, those are skills, fundamental skills, because in your workplace, a time will come where it will be who can produce the best results. And who can produce the best results. Everybody will be using the same tool. Everybody in your workplace, for example, has access to AI. But depending on how you communicate with that AI, depending on the result that comes out from it. So learning how to learn, learning how to talk to AI, prompting and using those tools, those are fundamental skills. Then in terms of, going forward, what areas of skills, additional skills I can learn for the interim? Many things like data, there are a lot of skills actually. A lot of skills. There's a lot of skills. Digital marketing, data analysis, whatever skill you're learning, there is a AI component part to it that you should also learn. For example, if you're learning how to design houses, learn how to design houses using AI tools. So while a traditional house designer is using maybe AutoCAD and is taking his time and is maybe drawing for a week and a month, you just go to AI and your prompt AI, use your AI tool, and in a day you are done with that. I think I can see from the question you say as a lawyer. Okay, that's another question though. So I think I'll let the moderator to properly So basically, what I was saying in summary is learning how to learn. So you have to learn how to learn faster and easier using AI tools to learn. learning how to talk to AI tools and all. Then whatever other skill you want to learn, maybe digital marketing as a short-term skill, maybe to make money and all of that, learn how to use AI to properly execute those skills so that you'll be faster and more efficient. I think
All right, thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you so much, Mr. Kelly, for helping us run through that question. So I think if I can just maybe share something from something you earlier said, right, just to contribute to the answer that you gave. You mentioned around understanding emotions, learning skills that targets how to communicate, how to communicate human emotions, right, is something that I believe is going to be a valuable skill that is going to give you an edge, right? Your EQ skills, not just your IQ skills, but your EQ skills, how to get the edge, how to, as a lawyer per se, right, beyond just filing cases, coming up with topics, but how to now properly communicate those ideas, right? It's something that you will really need to learn. So please, as you leave this place, right, just don't think about AI as coming to replace you. Think about the way you can now begin to work side by side AI, right? Like Mr. Alexander said, bringing your human factor to AI outputs, right, is something that is going to be very, 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 very decisive for you, because I still feel like currently now there are still a lot of people who are still well hesitant. The way they think about the adoption of AI is still retrogressive in that sense. But your ability to bring that human side to AI, I've seen people who, when you write something and it's AI written, AI generated, they feel somehow about it, right? But being able to review it and then putting your human content into your human side into it is still a valuable skill that you need to have, right? So yeah, that's just me adding to the questions. Sorry, who asked the next question? Inkiruka Okoro is saying, as a lawyer, how do I keep up with AI? So do you still want to take that question?
if Alexander has I can also comment on it. I also have context to it, but
okay. So Mr. Alexander, do you have anything
Yes.
to share? I know it's not your space, but I'm sure you may have something to say about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to contribute. So again, as a lawyer, right, in the rapid, changing environment, so you draft contracts for people, right? You come up with, so for instance, as a lawyer, you have clients that you defend them in court. You draft contracts for people, land agreement, and the likes. So most of these things can be easily done, rather than having to go from scratch. So with an AI, it can give you prompts that can help you. And again, it won't necessarily replace your critical thinking, your sound judgment, your commitment to justice, right? So these are the things that humanly speaking, you still need to bring to the table. But as a lawyer, for you to drive, you must just continue to learn, adapt, use this technology as a tool to deliver great value while, remaining grounded, in the principles of, of legal, professionalism. Yeah, so that's it basically.
All right,
so
thank you
if
so
I can
much.
just, all right, let me if I can just add a little to that. Basically, as a lawyer, it's even a little bit more easier because you are dealing with a lot of documents, and that is where AI is a master. Anything that has to do with document drafting, reading contracts. For example, I have a friend in the UK who had a case that was a very hard case. He went to ChatGPT. He's not a lawyer, so he was like, instead of him hiring a lawyer for about £500 for that case about his property, he went to ChatGPT and told ChatGPT his situation. ChatGPT drafted the defense for him. He took that defense to the courts. He told the judge, permit me to read from the paper that's in front of me, and he read. And the way the case was structured from the ChatGPT response, he won that case. So that is a situation where even someone that is not a lawyer is using an AI tool to solve their legal needs. So as a lawyer, I believe there are multiple ways. So what you should be focused on is learning the capabilities of AI. That is to say, what AI is actually capable of. For example, the way most people use AI, they use AI as a chat. I just type in something and you just give me this response. Okay. But some people can say, you know what, I type in this, do a research on this, turn that research into a PowerPoint slide, turn it into a maybe any other kind of document, PDF document, or even a video display. Like there are so many ways you can use AI. You can even use AI in the form of like an agent. You can say, you know what? Okay, you this agent, go and do this research. You this agent, go and do this contract. You this agent, go and do this other marketing. Like AI can be used in so many multiple ways. So as a lawyer or as a business person, it's not limited. Like depending on how much of the capabilities you know of AI, what AI can do, what tools you can use. Should you be using Qwen AI? For example, Qwen AI is a Chinese AI that is cheaper than Claude and Gemini. Do you understand? You know when to use that one. Oh, this one is good for this. Or should I use Grok? Grok is good for real-time information. So let's say, for example, as a lawyer, you are faced with a situation where you have to get the most current information about a topic people are discussing. Grok is the best tool you should ask at that point in time, not even ChatGPT or Gemini. So learning about the different tools, which ones to use in which context, those are also important skills you need to factor in as a lawyer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Alexander, and thank you also, Mr. Kelly. All right. Like I guess we are all seeing that as we keep discussing, right, the conversation is becoming more intricate, more personal. We are beginning to see the challenges that we experience in how we use AI, how we communicate with AI, and how best, we can now begin to adjust as we adapt to new systems and the technology itself. I think it's in this light that Naomi is asking, how do we balance the use of AI agents for work, but spend more time socializing, right? Still just going back to how to still maintain or develop our EQs, like our EQ skills, right? Our socializing skills. How do we maintain that? Because I believe we are now in a space where everything is becoming robotic. I believe there are people who currently, when they have issues, they don't talk to their friends, they sit down with a chat box and they discuss those issues. So how do we bring about that balance? Do we have, I think I want to throw it as an open question to both speakers to see how they address it. Yeah, Mr. Kelly, you can go first if you want. Mr. Alexander, if you have any thoughts on it, you can also share.
Okay. All right. So yes, that's work-life balance. It's we were already kind of feeling pressured with the many different technologies we have to deal with. So AI coming to compound on it, and even AI agents coming to compound on it. That's because, for example, some people that really run AI agents, like if you meet people that run AI agents, you will know that their life is a very high stress life. Sometimes they can't turn off their computers. So you see them, they're going to the airport, they have to take a flight, they have to make sure their laptop is open. So they have to explain to whoever they are explaining to at the checking point that, oh, I'm running an AI agent. If I close AI agent, all my work, all my business, all my agents will close. So I have to keep it open. So that's a new kind of life. So you wake up in the morning, your AI agents are already giving you updates on what it has done, what it is doing, and what it needs to do next, and all of that. So having a way where you can cut off from technology and feel refreshed is important. Take note, our dependence on technology is already affecting us in so many aspects of our life, especially psychologically. So having a life balance where sometimes you keep your phones out, you go into nature, you just relax, spend time with trees, the front of the ocean, and you just relax away from the stress is important. It's very, very important. Then sometimes too, you also need technology to interact with people. But instead of saying, oh, I will just call them or do a WhatsApp with them, decide to invest in actually meeting those people physically, spend time with those people. And when you're with those people, try to keep the phone on the backside and actually engage with them, talk with them, touch, feel. Those are the skills that actually will end up ensuring that your emotional quotient is important, because in the long future, that is going to be the key thing. A human that can feel, oh, someone is having the pain, you can actually feel, you can ever be empathetic to that person. Those are things that AI cannot do. So the more we enhance those skills about our social lives, our real human natural lives, the more we leverage on our true advantage on and can compete with AI. So I think I'll allow Alexander to also have his own points to that.
Okay, Alex, do you have anything you would like to share?
You're right. Kelly has pretty much, touched on it basically. So that is actually it, having to, meet people and but again, right? So while AI, will help you to become much more efficient at work, your EQ, is frictions as such, and because it is not automated, right? So that is why you spend more time dealing with people and then understanding their differences, and then it is something that you can actually build over time as such, and it grows from being with people, also reading emotions of people, navigating disagreements, building trust, and learning empathy, in real time as such. So yes, so that's it basically.
All right. Thank you very much to our speakers. So far, if there are still any questions, live questions we would like to ask, I think we can take maybe one question or two. Or if there are none, right, I want to firstly start by saying thank you to everyone who has made it to this webinar series. This is the first of many that we will be organizing subsequently from here henceforth. Right, we are doing this to, we usually run a mentorship and internship program, right? And because of the direction that a new direction that we are taking, we may not necessarily be able to do that as often and as frequent as we want to. So we are organizing these webinars to, or we want to start organizing these webinars to still just keep you in tune, right? For those of us who have taken part in our programs, just still keep you in tune with, the recent happenings and the occurrences in some of these spaces, to bring us, just give us an introduction into some of the current ongoings, the happenings generally, so that we do not lose touch of reality within that sense. So currently, one of the projects we are currently working on is our self-paced mentorship. So we're moving a little bit away from a traditional mentorship where we have maybe twice bi-yearly mentorships where we run through 7 weeks of program. But anybody who is interested, right, you can come and you can take our courses, just like we have discussed on AI, artificial intelligence. We have a whole series right, of classes that we have already on ground that talk about several aspects and areas of artificial intelligence and emerging technology. So if you are interested in doing that at your own pace, we would do well to reach out to you. Registration details and all of that will be shared to you guys after this webinar. So just keep an eye out, right? We have your email. So subsequently, communications will be reaching out to you with some other communications. If there are resource materials there is a resource material that we are trying to compile, right, over the next couple of months. As we get our hands on some of those resources, we'll do well to also share them with you. So keep an eye out, right? This webinar is not just to come one day, and then just hear a few things. We want to build a long-term relationship with you where you learn, right? And then we can share some of the resources that we have with you moving forward. So once again, a big thank you to Mr. Kelly and Mr. Alex for coming on on board today. We really, 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 really do appreciate. This session is being streamed on YouTube, right? I would, when I'm sending the emails to those who participated in this session, I will do well to attach the link to the webinar so that you can rewatch it, right, at your own pace, just to re-interact with the session, right? Get, in quotes, the meat out of the session. So, yeah. And okay, it's already 5 o'clock. We have spent 2 hours, right? And I'm sure it has been worth your while, worth your time, and worth the experience. All right, please do well to follow us on our different social media platforms, JIIPCC. Right, there are several things that we are currently doing, and we want to get as many people on board as we can. Right, there's so much information out there that you should be taking advantage of. Right, you should be learning, you should be unlearning, and you should be relearning. The world is not necessarily waiting for anybody, and your inability to catch up in terms of your pace of understanding, your pace of learning, may greatly limit how effective you be in the world that we are coming into. Right, so with that, we've come to the end of today's webinar. Right, see you all on the other side. Thank you once again, Mr. Kelly. Thank you once again, Mr. Alexander. See you all, and goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Dennis. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.